Pikmin 4 has one huge problem that's killing the lifespan of this game. Now, in no way am I saying it's a bad game. Pikmin 4 is actually topping up to be one of my favorite games of all time, but myself along with other players are running into a similar issue. After beating the main story, Nintendo was generous enough to give us a pretty lengthy post-game, but what happens after that? Now that I 100% of the game, I can't help but wonder what to do next. This isn't a Pikmin 4 problem though, it's a problem I have with any other story game. After you complete the main and side quests, the game just feels empty. Let's look at God of War 2018 for a second. I love this game with all my heart. The story is impeccable, the gameplay is seamless, and the graphics are top notch. But after I beat the campaign, I had no incentive to keep playing. And I can say the same thing about countless other story games that I've enjoyed in the past. On the contrary, there's certain games that have no story mode at all, and are mainly designed to be multiplayer or party games. And to no surprise, these games have a much longer lifespan than any other story game out there. Mario Odyssey came and gone. Elden Ring came and gone. Tears of the Kingdom came and gone. But Fortnite's still going. Same with GTA 5, Minecraft, Mario Kart, and Smash Bros 2. But these games were designed to be played over and over again. So how come I'm saying Pikmin 4 has a huge problem? If it's a story game, there shouldn't be much to do after you 100% it. Right? Well, I was kinda hoping Pikmin 4 could be more than just a story game. If you take a look at Luigi's Mansion 3, aside from its campaign, there's other small mini games that you and your friends can play. It's a small touch, but it drastically adds to the replayability of the game. Every Pikmin game has some sort of mode outside the main story. Time trials, mission modes, bingo battles, now Dandori Battles. But regardless of how much fun these game modes are, they never really stuck with me. And I think there's a very clear reason why. All of these game modes are local co-op exclusive, which isn't exactly a bad thing, but it's not a good thing either. The lack of online features in Pikmin game is truly depressing, and I personally believe it's killing the longevity of the game's lifespan. Now, I said something similar to this in the past and got a lot of comments saying how games don't need online features to be good. And I totally understand that. I can name hundreds of games that are great without having any online features, but you can't deny the fact that games that do have online components survive a lot longer than the ones who don't. Plus, wouldn't it be cool to Pikmin around with someone else across the country? Think of how much fun that could be. So today I'm going to talk about how Nintendo could integrate online features into Pikmin 4. Let's get the obvious one out of the way. Dandori Battles. I don't know why we can't just verse people online. It's already integrated into local co-op very well. I'm not some game dev, but it seems like they had everything they needed to make Dandori Battles an online mode. And who knows, maybe it could come in some future update, but I think that's just wishful thinking. I don't have many friends in my personal life who play Pikmin, so being able to hop online and queue into a battle would be lovely. If they were to add this in, I think there would be 3 different sections. Quick play, where you queue up against random people online. Arenas, where you can set up a game with your friends, and leaderboards to see everyone else's stats. I wouldn't make many changes to the battles itself. This game mode has a very fast-paced and competitive playstyle, which I absolutely love. The only thing I'd add is the ability to toggle full screen. I absolutely hate how we're forced to play in split screen, even if it's just us versus a computer. I get it's important to see what our opponent's doing, but at least give us the option to turn it on and off. Other than that, Dandori Battles have a simple but addicting playstyle that keeps players wanting more, and I think it'll work perfectly as an online mode. But let's move on into the bread and butter of this video, custom caves. It sounds as it is. Imagine if players were able to make their own caves and post them for other people to download and play. Basically just Mario Maker, but Pikmin. Now I don't expect it to be nearly as in-depth as Mario Maker is. I'd relate it more to the stage builder from Smash Ultimate. But why should we stop at caves? What if players can make their own Dandori challenges or night missions? We've seen a lot of Pikmin 3 mods where programmers will create their own levels in the Pikmin 3 engine, so why doesn't Nintendo make it easily accessible for people who don't know how to program? Call of Duty Black Ops 3 is another one of my favorite games of all time, but not for the reason you think. Ever since World at War, I've always enjoyed playing zombies due to its insane replayability. But this little thing called the Steam Workshop gives Black Ops 3 an infinite amount of content. Basically, the Steam Workshop lets players create content for others to play. This could be maps, mods, game modes, and more, and it's not just exclusive to COD. There's literally thousands of games on Steam where game developers embrace players making content on the platform rather than punishing them. And obviously it's a lot harder to do things like that on a console, the Switch especially, but games like Mario Maker and Smash Bros pulled it off, so who's to say Pikmin can't either? So how would a cave creator work in Pikmin 4? I think the objective would be to collect everything in the cave, including dead enemies, treasures, and castaways as fast as possible. Only then will you be able to move on to the next floor. The most prominent feature of the caves are sublevels, so I think it's only fair to add as many or as little sublevels as you want, with a max of 30, cause let's be honest, the Switch probably can't process more than that. It'll be way too difficult to manually path out each section of the cave, so instead you'll be able to select a preset of a few existing levels from the game. Once you select the level layout, you'll be able to add hazards and obstacles such as gates, bridges, and geysers wherever applicable. And now that we have the layout and the puzzle aspects sorted out, it's time for the real fun. Players will have the ability to place down enemies wherever they please. It can be as vanilla or chaotic as the map maker wants. I think there'll have to be an enemy limit because this probably wouldn't work out on the Switch. In terms of bosses, screw it, you can spam them all over the place. Last but not least, map makers will have the ability to scatter candy pop buds and wild Pikmin around the cave. And yes, you'll have to do that same process for each sub-level. Before posting your map for everyone to play, you must select how many Pikmin and which types the player starts off with. Like Mario Maker, you must also complete the cave yourself before uploading it, just to make sure it's actually doable. As much as I'd love to add a bunch of other features, I'm trying to make this idea as realistic as possible, so I'm going to leave it at that for now. But leave a comment down below if you have any other ideas to add to this cave creator. Now, let's be honest. This is already a huge feature that was highly unlikely to make it into Pikmin 4 in the first place, but I've learned to never say never. Having a cave creator in Pikmin 4 would extend the game's lifespan by years, but I guess we're gonna have to wait till Pikmin 5. Going back to my original question, does Pikmin 4 need an online mode? Technically, no. The game's already out, surviving and thriving without any online modes, not even leaderboards. But would it be nice to play Pikmin with a friend across the country? Of course it would. It's a shame that after 20 years, online co-op hasn't made its way into the Pikmin series yet. But the game lacking an online mode doesn't take anything away from the experience itself. In fact, I think it adds a certain charm. Pikmin 4 can only be played local. At the end of the day, it is a story game, so it makes sense. If God of War were to shift its focus on multiplayer, the main campaign probably wouldn't be nearly as impactful as it is now. And the same goes for Pikmin 4. So much attention to detail was put into every inch of this game, and if the devs made a separate online mode, Pikmin 4 wouldn't be nearly as polished as it is now. However, I'm still torn. I can't help but be happy that the game's so polished, yet upset that it's already over. I might sound ungrateful, but I think a part of me just wants more Pikmin content. And now that Pikmin 4 is come and gone, I worry that it'll fade away along with any other great story game. But regardless of what Nintendo did or didn't do, I know there's one thing we can all agree on. Pikmin 5 will be even better. Thanks for watching.